Hello everyone and welcome to Delta Wolf Gaming. Now, the topic for today's video is going to be about the bee maze. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks that helped me to be able to complete the bee maze, and hopefully it'll be of help to you also, because if you are like me, I struggled a long time needing to be able to complete it but just couldn't. And while experienced players do give you a lot of useful information, they don't tell you everything. So I'm going to reveal some of the hidden tricks that will put you over the edge to be able to complete it. Make sure you watch all the way to the end of the video, because some of these tips are going to sound counterintuitive, but trust me, it does work, and I wouldn't suggest it to you if it didn't. So without further ado, we'll get right into the video. Is the concept about the bee maze is pretty simple. You have to use the bee essence, run into the maze, get the geranium, bring that, which is basically the red flower, bring that to the queen, drop it in order to put her to sleep, grab one of the 3 prizes, carry it out of the maze. Easy peasy, right? Well, in theory it is, until you've completed it for the first few times. Once you've done it a few times, it becomes pretty easy then, because it's just a matter of practice. And having the right amount of control of your player ant is very important. So if you're playing on a smartphone, obviously it's going to be very hard to get that precise control, especially if you're playing touchscreen, because the screen is pretty small. So you've got a couple options. One, you can either practice with the joystick and get better with it. I know for me personally, the joystick was just impossible to get the level of control I needed. So I gave up on that, and I moved on to the next option, is find a bigger screen. Now you can do this by either downloading an emulator and playing on PC, or you can play on a tablet, which is the option that I went with. Is going from a 6-inch screen to a 12-inch screen, that makes a huge difference. From there, it's just a matter of practice, because once the screen is big enough, you can tap the correct spots. It becomes a lot easier. And that's one of the tips that they may not necessarily share with you, is it doesn't occur to most people. Some are able to do it on their phone right away, no problem, and so to them it's just, if they can do it, everybody should. And that's all well and great, but one size shoe doesn't fit everyone. So some people just need a bigger screen to be able to pull off the complicated technical moves and without blocking their field of view. Because that was another problem that I was having with the smaller screen, is playing touchscreen. My hand is in the way. It's hard to see what I'm doing, bumping, and it causes you to bump into the wall a lot or make a lot of mistakes. And I'll get to why that's important in a moment. Now, if you ask which upgrades are important to be able to accomplish the maze, this next part is the key. You want speed. Now, you might wonder, why speed? Shouldn't the timer be just as valuable? Well, actually, no. And the reason for it is the spinning hexagons. If your player ant is too slow, you're not going to be able to get through that opening quickly enough. You're going to bump into the wall or bump into the hexagon. And the thing is every time you bump into a wall or touch the dripping honey, you not only does it kill your momentum, slows you down in that way, but it also subtracts 10 seconds off the clock. Now figure, if you bump into the wall 6 times, that's not a lot of times, but that's taking a whole minute off your clock. And that can make the difference between if you do a successful run or if your run ends in failure. But on top of this problem, the hexagons are spinning, and so you have only a small opening to get through. If you miss that opening, not only do you get penalized the 10 seconds, but then you have to wait for that opening to come all the way around again before you get another chance. So in a sense, you're getting penalized twice for one mistake. And that's why speed is more important, because being able to get through these openings without incurring a penalty is what makes the biggest difference of all. I recommend at least 30% speed to be able to do it comfortably. Now, of course, if you're a newer player, getting the resin in order to do all these necessary upgrades is going to be rather difficult, especially if your resin chamber isn't high enough level in order to hold it to complete these more higher level upgrades. But there is a solution. If you upgrade your player speed one time, that'll give you 10%. If you're then in a clan that always runs player speed for an extra 20%, between the two of them together, that's 30% speed, and it will give you the edge to be able to complete the maze. Now this final trick, or not so much a trick, but a tip to help you to complete the bee maze, is, now this is the one that's going to sound counterintuitive. Don't rush. Now, what I mean by that, if there's certain things you have to time it just right to be able to complete, especially with dripping honey. You have to know exactly how far you can make it and where to stop at. Now, the temptation might be to just run right through it, or to try and run one extra gap further than what you should be able to make it. That's a bad idea, because while pushing through it instead of waiting might save you a second or two, maybe, if you're being generous. Keep in mind, every time you touch something, you're going to lose 10 seconds off the clock. So any amount of time that you might save by pushing the envelope, you're going to lose that and more from penalties. So it's just not worth it. It's better to go a little bit slow and make sure everything's timed out properly than to try and run it fast. A clean run is faster than a fast run. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but that's just the nature of how it works. If your run is clean, you don't bump into anything, you have a much better chance at being able to complete the maze than you would by just running through it like a bull in a china shop. So again, you might wonder, well, if you're telling me to go a little bit slower, then why are you telling me to upgrade player speed? Well, again, it comes down to those rotating hexagons. Now, it doesn't so much come into play when you're not carrying anything, because your player ant is pretty fast when he's empty. But these speed boosts really come into play when he's carrying something. If you're carrying that geranium, or you're carrying the prize, or trying to carry your prize out of the beehive, you're going to move at a much slower pace. And when you're moving at this slower pace, it's going to be very difficult to get through those spinning hexagons without bumping into anything. And so again, as I explained earlier, just how much of a penalty you can get by missing that opening. Forget losing 5, 10, it's probably going to cost you more in the neighborhood of 20 seconds if you miss your opening. And it doesn't take many misses to completely ruin your chances at finishing the maze. So it's extremely important to have these speed upgrades. Again, the number you're looking for is 30%. I know 30%, it's doable. I've heard a few people say 20% is possible, and maybe it is, maybe it's not. But at any rate, if you have the 20% from your clan boost and 10% on your own personal upgrades, then that's 30%, which is more than enough. If you want any more player tips, be sure to join the official Pocket Ants Discord. Link will be in the description. And be sure to like and subscribe for more content. And because I will be making more videos. I know it's been a long time since my last video, but I'm trying to get back into this, making videos on a regular basis. So if you can help support my channel, like and subscribe it, and join my Discord, that would be very much appreciated. And thanks for watching. See you next time.